buongiorno. That's the only Italian word I know, so you have to bear with me today with all the name pronunciation. My name is Fawzy, and I'll be your host for the day, and I will be introducing some great panel discussions today. I'm also a board member in the ECIA, the European Council of Interior Architects, and so pleased to see you all today. So welcome, and thank you all for being here today. Special thanks to the support of Regione Lombardia for arranging this wonderful space. Thank you very much. It's a great venue. This is a pleasure being here in the first event organized between ECIA and a national organization, AIPI. And it's a real pleasure to open this panel day dedicated to exploring the evolving role of design, particularly how it shapes not only the spaces we live in and inhabit, but also the values we stand for as a society. Today's program brings together an exceptional group of professionals, academics, and thought leaders to discuss some of the most pressing and inspiring topics in the field of interior design and interior architecture. We begin with a conversation on safety, inclusivity, and beauty in interior design. A reminder that design is not only about aesthetics, but about creating environments that are accessible, human-centered, and meaningful for everyone. We then move to a second panel, and it discusses a broader perspective with the UNI 12001 standard, examining the role of design in the future of European professional standards. This panel will highlight how design continues to evolve as both a discipline, a responsibility within the institutional and professional framework. Finally, we will have a look ahead with a special lecture on the future of design and interior design by Karim Rashid, offering us an insight into where creativity, innovation, and culture are taking us next. So throughout the day, we are honored to host some distinguished speakers from various parts of the world and moderators who bring a wealth of experience and diverse perspectives into those topics. Their contribution will help us spark dialogue, challenge assumptions, and hopefully inspire new ways of thinking. This is a space to share and exchange knowledge, so I invite you all to take part, to reflect, to connect, and to ask a lot of questions as we go. Thank you for joining us, and I look forward to an inspiring and a thought-provoking day together. At the start of this, I would like to invite a few people to the stage. I would like to invite Francesca Caruso, Giacomo Manzoni, Thomas Seifert, Antonio De Antonis. Please come to the stage.
It's for because we are a bit in a lack of time, we are going to proceed directly to the first panel discussion about safety, inclusivity, and beauty, and we will. Yeah, just a few more. Oh yeah.
Do we want to start with Francesca's words? Right, okay. Shall we do them in Italian first, and then I'll translate? Let's do that.
Yes. Innanzitutto buongiorno a tutti, Giacomo Manzoni, presidente della Fondazione Pio Manzù, che ha collaborato con AIPI e ECIA per l'organizzazione di questo evento. Porto i saluti dell'assessore Francesca Caruso, assessore alla cultura di Regione Lombardia, che per un impegno non è potuta essere presente. Buongiorno a tutti, accogliamo con grande entusiasmo e con orgoglio gli Stati Generali dell'Interior Design, ospitati per la prima volta a Milano proprio durante la Design Week. Un appuntamento che attendevamo con viva curiosità e tanto interesse. Palazzo Lombardia apre oggi le sue porte come luogo di incontro per istituzioni, associazioni professionali e progettisti provenienti da paesi e contesti culturali molto diversi tra loro. La presenza di ECIA, AIPI ed ADD porta nella nostra sede istituzionale le realtà di riferimento per le politiche e gli standard internazionali del settore, a conferma del fatto che il dialogo europeo è parte costitutiva di questa iniziativa. Il tema del responsible design coglie con precisione in quale direzione sta andando la progettazione contemporanea. Sicurezza e accessibilità non sono più solo opzioni, ma principi fondamentali negli ambienti in cui viviamo e lavoriamo. Il design incide direttamente sulla qualità della vita quotidiana e questa è la sua forza. Ed è per questo che lo consideriamo come una disciplina culturale a pieno titolo. Questo evento è stato reso possibile dalla sinergia della Regione Lombardia, Fondazione Pio Manzù e Fondazione Fiera Milano, che ringrazio sentitamente. Una collaborazione che dimostra come istituzioni diverse possono lavorare con risultati concreti. Un ringraziamento va anche a Idea Integrale e DDM, padrone di casa, che ci hanno gentilmente ospitato in questa splendida location. Il confronto tra professionisti, mondo accademico e istituzioni è esattamente il tipo di dialogo di cui abbiamo bisogno per far crescere una cultura del progetto più consapevole e responsabile. Oggi Milano si conferma capitale del design e la Lombardia un territorio che sa coniugare creatività, industria e innovazione. Si tratta di una scelta precisa che continueremo a sostenere e a portare avanti. Come Regione rinnoviamo qui il nostro impegno a promuovere iniziative culturali di respiro europeo e globale, convinti che il design, inteso come responsabilità, qualità e apertura al mondo, sia una leva strategica di sviluppo e coesione per il nostro territorio. Francesca Caruso, assessore alla cultura della Regione Lombardia.
I would also like Antonio to take the stage and just address.
Yeah, very quickly, because we are a little bit losing a little bit time, so we need to speed up a little bit. So I just want to thank everybody for coming here. I am the president of AIPI, AIPI, and first of all, I'd like to thank all the delegations. So my friend Emre Kaymak, delegation for SIAT, Turkish Associations of Interior Architects. We have the delegation from Tunisia. I don't know where they are, so we'll see later. Morocco, and we have from Hong Kong. Where are them? Someplace. And Singapore. We have the association from all Europe. So we have Belgium, England, France. Where is France? Here we are. Italy, Estonia. So thank you very much for joining here. I'm not taking any more time because we go a little bit in a hurry. And all the other members here, we have time to say hello more deeply to them. A special thanks to Mr. Piero Castiglioni. Please, I want you to, because he's everywhere we are going, he's coming with us, and I really, really appreciate that. Thank you very much for coming.
So, welcome again to everybody. I'm going to very briefly introduce, because we're going a bit faster now. ECIA, European Council of Interior Architects, we are a member organization, and IPA is one of our members, a national organization. So we are representing only 21 countries, but all the member organizations together represent more than 20,000 interior architects and designers all over Europe. This is our quote: different cultures, shared value, one profession. What we want to stand for is a strong profession. Interior architects, interior designers, we have an added value to this world, and we will show that today. Just a nice map. This is all the member organizations in Europe for the moment. So also Switzerland, Norway. So it's not only European Union, it's the European continent. England is there. What we do, we exchange knowledge. We align our education to have a better profession and the strengthening the recognition of the profession of our discipline. This is the board. The most of them are here, so you can talk to us. What are we serving? So we do a lot of things. And for example, what we're doing today, we're doing topic discussions about things that really matter in our profession. And of course, now you can all take your phones. It's the only moment you can have this point, that is to follow us on socials. It will come back after. So, who am I? I am Thomas Seifert. I'm from Belgium. I'm an interior architect and I'm a fire safety specialist. And when this terrible thing happened in Switzerland, New Year's Eve, and I saw Antonio some weeks later in Turkey. There we are in Turkey. I said we should do something about it. We should do something about it. Fire safety is a very, very important issue in our designs. And then we went further because it's not only fire safety, it's also inclusivity. It's a lot of this. It is responsible design, and that's where you are here today. And we made this lecture possible. This is what happens in Crans-Montana. We all know the pictures. We all had this terrible feeling. How could this happen? Well, to be fair, there is still an investigation running, so I will not go too much on the details, but there was no interior architect involved. This was pure private decisions. The total raw material, what they used, and then the coincidence of this fire in the champagne bottles made this horrible thing happen. Fire safety must be an integrated and a part of our identity. We have to think about, like all the other things we're going to discuss today, we have to think about when we design. It's not something we can like say, now the design is finished and now we're going to think about fire safety. It doesn't work like that. Because then you will have like your beautiful design and you have to add all these features that you have to do anyway, because it's the law. And there's only one thing that is nice on the law is there for everyone. With this, we're going to be short because we will give you some thoughts. We will see our panel with also their thoughts about responsible design, and then we will talk about it together. So I present now to Marco Piva. Okay.
Thank you. So thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure. I'm, let's say, a little bit old, so I had quite a long experience about interior design, and I must say, just starting, I don't know what, which is, okay. So this is very important for us, you know, this is a combination of, let's say, two kind of knowledges that has been represented by Raffaello, that is a sort of ideal meeting between people involved, the very famous people from the old ages, involved in science, and people that were involved in philosophy and humanism and so on. So the combination of these two elements for us is a guide. The guide to go to what we believe is the fundamental of our activity, that is looking for beauty. That beauty means also safety. So very, very, very easy, as already been said. What we are perceiving is sustainability, attention to the materials, use of proper technology, take care of the environment, build a human environment that could be sustainable, it could be livable. And that means that also we have to rethink to the way we live and we build and we design cities. I still believe that cities could be designed, and the interior is a part of this design, because I believe that architecture cannot exist without a proper interior. I hate the idea of arredamento, as we say in Italy, that is furnishing. I believe that interior architecture is really part of architecture. And so the dialogue between the container and the content should be strong and in continuity. So this, because I believe that every time that we can do it, we try to get this kind of opportunity to go through architecture to the interior, because we did also architecture inside old buildings, but that means that you have to go through researches, you have to understand what you are proposing for your job. So we try to, I can say, add values every time. If the architecture flows directly into interior design, to me, it's 10 times better. So this is coming also from my, let's say, study years and years ago, where the architect seems to be able, but is able to do everything, to design from this spool to the city, as we have been said. So just to go to the pictures that you showed about Crans-Montana, we are focusing now on a project. I'll go quickly to this one. That is very important because it is in Milano. Is Torre Antonini is one the tower that got burnt a few years ago. Luckily, nobody died there, but it was a full disaster. The people that had to leave their home, they lost everything. 80 families, they have to move. And this has been caused because the selection of material that was applied to the architecture and partially to the interior were not the correct one. I don't know, I don't want to get into who is, let's say, the responsible or not, but that happened. And just because of one material specified probably in the wrong way, the whole thing burned down, you know. Not down because the structure succeeded to stay there, and we have been able to work together with the engineers so to find a way to give a new life to this structure. And so opposite to what happened in Spain and England, now we are rebuilding, giving new life to this tower. Using proper material, working together. This is very important also for the interior, working together with specialists about, you know, special materials, fire safety, evacuation system, all this stuff, you know, that could be useful for this target. So very soon, I believe Milano will bring up, because it's our design, but we are involved with the team, is going to be a sample of how architecture in terms of safety, you know, I don't want to say it's in terms of design, could be conceived, it could be realizing continuity between, again, interior and architecture still. I want to say also that there is not a very clear limit anymore between in and out, because the interior design is expanding, you know, out in the balconies, lodges, and all this area. And so that is quite interesting as a specific kind of design area where to activate our knowledge and our research. So maybe very soon we can show the next year, maybe the final work, you know, that we did on the tower. And also we are going to prepare a movie and a book. And so it's just a little contribution to make this theme to be evolved for everybody. Thank you.
So this is the tower. This is the projects, I guess.
Non so. You see you.
Sorry, I forgot that there were some pictures of this movie that is showing how, you know, the tower has been damaged, you know, and now it's going to be redesigned. So we took the original design in our was a competition. So we won the competition because we thought to embrace, you know, with these balconies, partially transparent, partially not, realizing aluminium. So we had also calculated the load of this new facade to be added to the section. And so at the end we call it SETA. That means seal, like a very thin kind of solution to apply to the architecture. Thank you.
Perfect. It's great to be here in Milan after 15 years break. To introduce myself, I'm Rama Girawa, and the hat I'm wearing today is I'm president of EIDD, just to give you another acronym, the alphabet soup, just to throw that in there. I think president nowadays is a bit of a bad word, but what can I say? I'm a president of EIDD. We're very happy to support ECIA and AIPI with this, and we bring very special flavor to responsible design, and that's inclusive design, diseño inclusivo. And we have a few members here as well of EIDD. I can see Josiane, Francesco, of course, Antonio. Antonio is a double president. I don't know if that makes him doubly bad as me. Yeah, he's also vice president of EIDD. Really important because we spend, I'm quoting Antonio here, we spend 90% of our time in interiors. And this is why inclusive design is so important. When we think, you know, Milan Design Festival is full of creativity, But in order to make creativity responsible, we need two other things. And that's what you see on screen, this triangulation. I've personally led over 100 projects in 30 countries. And before you ask, yes, the jacket is from Hong Kong. It's an up-and-coming designer called Harrison Wong. Just a little shout out to him. But creativity is one thing. It's like the body of a plane. The wings are empathy and clarity. So those three things, empathy, clarity, creativity, work together. And this is drawn from doing those 100 projects, everything from interiors at Heathrow projects to the London taxi, right the way down, you said spoons, all the way down to very local things. And I'll give an example about plates. See, we were coordinating our presentation, we didn't even know it. Empatia, creatività, Sicurezza form that triangulation of head, heart, and hand. And that's incredibly powerful because creativity by itself isn't enough. When I said I was going to become a designer, my Indian aunties were horrified. They said to me, how are you going to make a living? You should become an accountant or a lawyer. And I said, you know, my dad was an accountant, it's all fine. So this example on the right is for them. It's for my aunties because it shows how color can save a life. That's responsibility. It's safety. We were working in care homes and they said, these older people have given up on life. They're not eating any longer. And our designer spent half a day and changed a few things. They raised the table height. They changed the lighting position over the table and they changed the color of the plates. The older people started eating again. They weren't waiting to die. They just turned out. They couldn't reach the food. The wheelchair arms couldn't fit under the table. Raise the table, you can push the wheelchair closer. And it turns out most care homes buy cheap food. And cheap food is white. You put white food on a white plate, on a white tablecloth, in a badly lit room, you can't see it. It's interior design. You put the white food on a blue plate, they can see the food again. They started eating because they could see the food. That is responsibility, that is safety. So the quote is, I know our friend Karim Rashid is not here yet, but I met him in Turkey, thank you Emrah, and this was us standing together after a 3-hour conversation where we spoke about creativity. Because 500 years ago, creativity could have got you exiled or executed. It could have got you killed. The most dangerous thing to be in Europe in the Middle Ages was a social innovator. Because they wanted you to follow church, they wanted you to follow government. And here we are celebrating creativity. But today, creativity is under attack. And this is why we need to bring it back in. Creativity is educated out of us at school. We need to bring it back in. So the final bits, the final 4 statements came from 2 very wise people I know, my parents. And it's what I follow when we look at bringing creativity back in, when we look at responsible design. That design for all. So number 1 is be kind. If you can't think of anything to do in life, just be kind. Number 2 is be present, be here. Look at what's going around you. It's the most powerful tool of a designer is to see what's happening. Who's excluded? When we design an interior, is the exhausted nurse, is the neurodivergent person, our children, our older people, our women, our people of color, included or excluded. And I think this links all the way through from care to fire safety. The next one says, love, not power. Amore, non potere. And that is incredibly powerful because I'm going to take 30 seconds more if I may. If not, I won't get my lunch. It's hugely important that in this world where we seek power, we want to be number 1. Corporations are pushing us as designers to do that, that we bring in that sense of love. So there's a quote by Rabindranath Tagore, an Indian poet, which is about this. And he said, "Power said to the world, 'You are mine,' and she imprisoned him on her throne. Love said to the world, 'I am yours,' and she gave him the freedom of her house." So this is what we as designers, architects, and creatives bring to the world. We bring freedom. And finally, my dad always used to say to me, show up for your own life, because if you don't, no one else will. So that's the responsibility that we all carry. Responsibility for me is the ability to respond. Responsibility. So bring those two things together and you can be the most powerful person. You can change lives, even if you change one life, and that's your own. So thank you.
Thanks, Ramada. Federico.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the time you are dedicating us today. Thanks to the ECIA and AIPI for this beautiful day together. I'm Federico Biffi, brand ambassador for Caini Brevetti. I bring the apologies of Mr. Franco Caini, the CEO of Caini Brevetti, who couldn't be here, is busy at Salone. We have a booth there. And I interrogated myself when it comes to responsible design, what that means to me, but more importantly, to the organization I represent today. And basically, that's human-centric design. The idea is, if you start from people's needs, desires, ambitions, it's really, really hard to go wrong. But at the same time, if we think about this when it comes to your profession, that becomes a bit more complicated. Today, I represent the industrial partner, the manufacturer. The idea is being an architect, being an interior designer is tough. And you need to manage so many different things within the project. My idea, our idea, is that we can support you in some specific venues of your profession. And in this case is acoustics to us. We started in 2012 when it comes to our research in acoustics, specifically in sound absorption. And thankfully, there's now more sensibility towards the topic. But as I often say, our senses, they're not all equal, especially when we talk about design, because sight is typically a tyrant. And this panel is also about beauty. And I'm not saying that you don't have a duty when it comes to how things are going to look like. They need to be aesthetically pleasing, but there's so much more beyond what's visible. And in this case, my job here is to focus on acoustics. Why? Because it's a matter of your responsibility transversally within different intended uses. There's now enough evidence. We have a strong background when it comes to workplaces and offices where we know that controlling excessive noise, for example, improves focus, productivity, profitability of that space. It lowers cortisol levels within your bloodstream. So it's really a quantitative approach when it comes to this. In education, from kindergarten to universities, when we have the ambition to teach something to someone, we should be deeply concerned about acoustics because we want to communicate. Basically, it's a matter of intelligibility, really. It means that it is your responsibility. You have leverage when it comes to how much we understand in a given location. This is super powerful, especially nowadays where people, they don't have time to listen. Hence, clarity becomes fundamental. And my colleague panelists before me mentioned neurodiversity. Acoustics definitely has an impact when it comes to this and inclusive design. We've been collaborating with Salone del Libro in Turin. the book fair, where we created decompression spaces for people with special needs and fragilities when it comes to this, and acoustics plays a huge role into this. When it comes to my quote and my lens, responsible design is not a matter of intuition, but of integrity. Well, it's not like it's not about intuition. I don't want to bring, love and art out of your profession, but by anchoring research and development in rigorous acoustics, we transform spaces from mere structures in evidence-based environments that honor human biology and protect our collective well-being. This picture behind me is taken inside our acoustic laboratory. We built our own reverberation chamber, our own anechoic chamber to study sound, not just the physics of sound, not just the paths of propagation. That is important, but above that, we study psychoacoustics, how people change their behaviors based on the acoustic design around them. So again, there is a leverage, there is a possibility. It is your duty, and we're here to support.
Thank you. Massimo, please introduce yourself.
It's me. Okay, so thank you for the invitation. That's really interesting to have this kind of conference with the people that care for organization and architects and politics. So it's really the moment that we can share a very, very interesting thing. I have my own studio of architectural design, interior design specifically, but I'm a professor at Politecnico di Milano. Why I think is important to this thing? Because it's important to have something to say to the students. It's important that the reality of the work should be passed through in the part of the university approach. Vediamo se c'è. No, the other way. So, my passion since a long time ago is materials. I do a lot of research about materials, and what we talk about these days was, okay, how can we connect several things like design for all, environmental approach, safety, etc., together. Now, the idea is that the technology helps a lot. So we have materials, we have the possibility to do things, but we don't have yet the culture. This was a picture that I took a couple of days ago. One of the things that I do with my students, for example, is I take them, we go to the Duomo, they wear black glasses, white stick, and I say, okay, go have a coffee, take something, go into the toilet, go around, no? And it's really interesting because, of course, mostly of the bar, restaurant, and places, they follow the rules. But the rules is a limit, is that where you can pass through. I mean, it's just the minimum that you can have for a project, not for a good project. If you want to start to talk about a good project, you have to start from the base of the rules and then go up. No? For example, there are very simple things that we can do. One of the things that came out from the student was, for example, in Italy, you should put some kind of hanger in the toilets, no? Of course, because it helps people to move and other thing. Okay, but often the ceramics are white because it's more clean material. Oh, that's crazy, but it's like this. Then you have hanger whites. So the rules say, okay, I need the hanger. It's okay, I did it. It's not my responsibility to go on. The project also say, no, I have to do something that everybody can use. Because, for example, there is not only blind people, there is old people that maybe have different level of problems. No, children have problems. Our cities, they are made not for children, they are made for adult people that can walk with no problem, etc., etc., etc. We know this. So the point is just to change the culture. We have the tools, but we have to change a little bit our culture. And the other picture that they took, is the other side. I have problems. Okay. No, it's not very, I took it. It's not very easy to see because now it's really sunny. I think that we will cook this morning in the oven, to this oven. Okay, I took this as an example. This is a foam. It's made with orange, the outside of the orange. But the interesting thing is that, first of all, it's a foam. I didn't see yet the foam. I saw the leather made with orange and that thing. Okay. The foam is really difficult to do it, but it's very resistant. I've been talking before with a company, and they asked me, what is the characteristic of eco-design? The quality. Think durable things, the energy that you spend in the material to do something, if it goes on for years, you will divide it in the time. But if it works for a few months or a few years, then even if it's natural material, whatever, but it's not useful. And the other thing is that this is against fire. This is fire resistant. That is not so common for natural material. So it's very resistant, it's fire resistance, it's made with, you want to see? Yeah. It's made, thank you, so you have it. You go like this, you show it, and it's really interesting, the idea that they really did a circular economy, because they said to me, we didn't use as much as it is I don't know the name of the butcher, of the outside of the orange, Skin. Yeah, easy. It's so too easy. They take the skin, they press it, they use the oil that is inside to do a kind of fire, gasoline, whatever. Okay, so they use it. And then what happened? The final part that is not useful, they do this. So that's great. And it's in Italy. It's not because I'm nationalist, I'm a little V, but of course, but it's a local. So I don't buy something coming from the other side of the ocean and they say it's natural, yeah, but then pass through the ocean and the other thing. So, and look, let's look for local. What I say to my students is that the secret of eco-design is I don't know in English, but is the polpettone, no? Is a kind of pie made with all the things that you find in the kitchen, no? To cook. Because you start the first day, Monday with a meat, then you do ragu, and then it becomes polpettone. So you use all the steps of the material on the side. This is the secret of the circular economy. So the point is culture, not technology, because we have it. We have to do research. It is a pity that a lot of companies, they reduce their research inside. Not in your case, because I know very well you have fantastic machine for testing the acoustics, so I know very well Franco. But usually for designer is a part of the research, the part of the work that we have to do. That's okay, it's funny, I like it. But I mean, we should balance this, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Kambi. And Carl, let's see. Please introduce the bill.
Okay, good morning. First of all, I see so many friends that I knew recently from ECIA, and I'm so glad that we meet again here. So this is a real pleasure, and so I'm so glad that you invited me to this panel. And I just want to point out a couple of subjects because my work is about most of my effort is always focused on create emotional space. Okay, it seems banal because everybody of us do this, you know, like they should do this, and inclusivity, responsibility is part of this work. But you know, at the beginning, we feel, I feel as a professional like an artist, and this is my experience. You know, some architects, they have a history which is focused on more, you know, responsibility, on functionality, on create functional space, beautiful space, and I think that in our soul, sometimes there is a part that is really focused on our sense of making a kind of art project that the people, they have not to interpret it, they have to interpret it in different ways. Okay, so my thinking in this period since when we had the conference in Turkey that we were so much involved in this subject of responsibility and inclusivity, that is touching also my work. But, you know, the subject of the artistic part of the project that is so much influences, you know, the sense of belonging of the people is so important, you know, that is a part of the project. So now the effort and the challenge is really to, you know, to combine these two parts in the project, where in the meantime that you do this kind of art piece, because we go in, when in a project, you know, we go something like in a trance, you know, we start to think about material combination, assemble materials and so on, and sometimes we lose. So it's a continuous, let's say, work that goes from functional and understand the use of the people, and your part of being, you know, like a guru for the people. Because I feel like this, you know, with the clients, at a certain point, you feel like the client is completely trust of your sense of cultural, intellectual, and they see you like a master, okay? And so this is the first part that I'm thinking about, you know, how to combine this and how to create, you know, a real subject that is this beauty and sense belonging to become part of the research inside the responsibility and inclusivity. That is not something that you had, or it's not something that you think before. It's a merge of these two things. The other part that I'm very much passionate in this period is technology, because we are used to think about doing steps, you know, doing normal steps. And if you remember in the past, when there was internet, there was smartphone, nobody was doing double steps. Everybody was waiting for the next step. What happened? You know, what happened with the Bitcoin? What happened with all the new technology of the past? Now that with AI, you know, it seems that you cannot do normal steps, because, you know, the things are so fast that we cannot wait. And this is a very big point, because the people that wait to see what happened, they will be out of the game. And so also here there is a big responsibility to be inside the system without losing, you know, you cannot say, okay, I like nature and I don't like AI because it's not human, or, you know, let's see what happened. So in our field now, there is this big challenge to enter in this world and to understand with the smart, for example, with the smart home instruments, you know, everything will change, and it's changing already, but everything will really change. And the people, they should become confident, you know, in all these technologies very fast, very fast. So I'm studying very much, you know, this field, because I like to be in advance in respect of what happened in the next period. So there are these, you know, very much part of the brain that are thinking, you know, what is really the future of our profession in the middle of art, the cultural part, the functional part, the AI, you know, what's going on. And but this is more, you know, I think is a challenge for the young generation, because we already done so many things. I go to another slide just to show what is emotion for me. And so I'm trying to engage discussion very much with the young people to make them understand, and to get also from their feedback, you know, what can be the future. Thank you.
Thanks. I think from everything that I've been listening to and hearing, it seems pretty obvious that they're all agreeing that we are responsible. There's a lot of aspects and a lot of topics to juggle within the interior design process. And I think from my experience, and I've been doing interior architecture practicing for about 24 years now, I see that the clients still have that historic sort of idea about design, accessible design, inclusive design, and they always have that kind of visual label attached to it. They feel that it will ruin the aesthetics. It's not going to look that great, and it will. Do we really need it? The regulation, however, on the other side, doesn't seem to be quite advanced. It's quite basic, and if we go with what the regulation says, we can tick the box. It doesn't necessarily mean, you know, the care home and people will be able to reach the table, because I'm pretty sure the designer who did it originally had the right height, but it wasn't useful, right? So I think we need to go beyond regulation. But how can we tackle, from your perspectives, how can we tackle that bad negative press, bad label, again, around the aesthetics of inclusive design? Does it, or responsible design in general, fire safety, fire materials, etc.? How do we navigate creating a beautiful space where the responsible design is there, present, but invisible at the same time? I'll open that to all of you. So, you want to start?
So for me, it's knowledge is what starts everything. If interior designers, interior architects have this ability to know what is needed, and they believe that it's the right thing to do, you can persuade very much easier your clients, because you can explain it with passion, and you can explain it with this with the background, and that's much easier to transform the message of to get the message to the client, and to that the client accepts it. But therefore you need to know why you do it yourself, and you need to believe that it's the right thing. If you're just following rules, but because the rules are there, it will never be the same powerful message as your own belief, and that's why you can go a step further than only the regulations, the basic regulations. If you see the most of the regulations are made in the 80s for this moment. So 80s, 70s, 80s, that's where they start thinking, and they did not really advance very much. But we advance. We grow also. Like, population is higher, older, and this didn't went through in the regulations. So regulations should follow, but they're always slow. But we should believe what we are doing to transfer the message.
So I think there's probably three things that come to mind. One is, and I think you said it, May, is responsibility. When you look at compliance, is very basic. You know, it doesn't actually get you inclusivity. It doesn't actually get you design. So I was once shown an interior in Boston where there was a someone said, "You'll love this building. You love inclusive design. Come and see it." And I walked in, and it looked nothing like Maurizio's building. It was horrible. And I said, "It's not inclusive." There's two words in inclusive design. One is inclusive, the other is design. I think the second point is markets. If you start looking at who's excluded, the numbers go into the trillions. So people with disabilities, that's about 2 billion people. That's worth 18.3 trillion. Older people, again, by 2050, that's over 60s, because older is a relative term. Older is generally someone who's 15 years older than you. So I'm old according to half my cousins. But that's, again, you know, 2 billion people. You start to look at women, you start to look at non-binary, you start to look at people of color. You realize most of the world is excluded. And the third and final point is most companies react out of fear. So it's stepping beyond the fear. It's why that model exists of empathy, clarity, creativity. So, you know, we don't want to throw seeds onto stony ground. We want to throw design seeds, creative seeds onto fertile ground. And that's where we need to change models of leadership, models of understanding. And that's where we need to apply design so it trickles out.
I don't know.
It is a quite complicated subject to treat. From my experience, for instance, we're working for big projects and we don't have the client. We have so many different clients. We have lawyers, we have a cost controller, consultants, we have the developer, and so on, you know. And so it's quite difficult to go through this process of continuous checking somewhat about what you are proposing and doing. And then we discovered that we decided we are not anymore a design office. We are a strategic consultant, because that means that you take the right time to understand who is in front of you. Sometimes you will find fully completed idiots, and it happened. But these are a position that could really cause a dramatic kind of answer to the question of we need to do an hotel, we have to do a village, we have to transform the tower, something like that, you know? Not only from interior, but also architecture. And so we need to proceed step by step. We try also to have our own project inside the project. That means if you are developing something that has a certain kind of dimension, we have the opportunity to go for researches, we are going to, how can I say, to discover new things, maybe new emotions. And we place this inside the project without having the client understanding that we are doing such an exercise, you know. So sometimes we use, it's a good step, it's not, we use their money to do something that want to be possible, you know, in another way, in other conditions. So the point is to understand who is in front of you, what is the target, and sometimes you have also to fight strongly against, for instance, the standards. Standards, you know, from many companies, hotel managing companies, for instance, are there. Big book, you know, dimension, eye of the table, you have to go under the table, the chair, so, the light, and this and that, you know. But you have also the chance to change this because the new things are coming up, you know. So their vision that is in the book is already old, you know. So we have to do, all of us, you know, we have to do this kind of exercise. It's not easy. You need to be brave.
I have a very nice example, a stupid example, but because we are doing very complex project. But for me, it happened that I had to make the bathroom of Autogrill, which is some years ago. And the bathroom of Autogrill, they were all gray, you know. And I say, no, we want to do it yellow or, you know, some fun sport. And it was not possible because in the book of the regulation, there is written that, you know, the bathroom should be gray but for many reasons, for, you know, a kind of study of methodology of thinking about the behavior of the people and so on. So it was a big fight just for the stupid poll. And this is strange, you know, and this is what happened now. Yes, I understand what you say.
I'm so sorry. Antonio is going to kill me because we ran out of time. I'm so sorry, everyone. But we've got a great panel and everybody has got a great full. So I would have to close now. But look, we're all hanging out. If anybody has any questions that wants to continue with the topic, please come and speak to the lovely panelists. I'm sure they will be more than delighted to speak to you. Thank you so much for your time. I learned a lot personally and I hope you both.